Hey everybody, how you doing? It's KT with 90s Muscle. For all the Fox body freaks out there like me, behind me I got the Mac Daddy of all Fox bodies. It's the 93 GT SVT Cobra. 4,993 of them made. Black, teal, red. This one is a black car on gray leather. It's a sunroof car, extra option. I don't really care for it, but this car came out of Pennsylvania. I bought it 4 years ago from the second owner. It's got about just shy of 15,000 miles on it, 14,000 and change. It's a beautiful car through and through, completely 100% OEM stock, original, down to the original catted exhaust, which was unique to these cars. A lot of people forget about that, but this car came with a special tuned exhaust from the factory. So when you came home and took your cats off and threw them in the garbage, you're doing the wrong thing, at least for these, because they were a freer flowing system. If you've been paying attention to the market lately, you realize that these cars are suddenly exploding. Earlier this month in Harrisburg, there were two that went for well over 35,000. Teal one with about 11,000 miles on it, and a red one with just about 1,300 miles. We figure this car here behind us will probably bring about 30, maybe a little higher, 31, 32 in the current marketplace, but you never know. Let's take a closer look at her and see what makes a Cobra a Cobra. So a lot of people ask what makes the 93 GT SVT Cobra a Cobra. I mean, at first glance, it's looks like any GT with some rims on it, but there are some subtle differences, both cosmetically and mechanically, and we can go over all of them. Starting with the grille, they did a special grille just for the Cobra. Had a prancing horse in it. Moving around to the side, on the fenders, had special Cobra badges. Only came on the Cobra. The wheels were different. They were one-offs just for this year. They of course make reproductions of these now, you can put them on any car, but this was the first year of this turbofan wheel just for the Cobra. They had a flat machined disc cover plate. Moving around to the back, they had a special wing on the Cobra. This is also reproduced widely today, but it came first on the Cobra. If you look at the back, the tail lights were different. They had a black dividing line. The dividing line matches the body color of the car. So on a black car, it's black. Teal, it's teal, and red is red. Cobra badging here. As I mentioned, the exhaust was specially tuned from the factory for the Cobra. The exhaust tips are unlike a normal GT that you cannot see and just curve at the ground. The exhaust tips on a Cobra actually stick out, and if you look really closely, they have a little indentation right in the front, which is how you can tell if they're unique original Cobra tailpipes or something aftermarket someone would have done. So the interior on these cars was not different in any way really from a normal GT. The only thing different on the Cobra was the floor mats in the front. As you could say, they're embroidered with the word Cobra, and of course the mats were the same color as whatever the carpet was. But other than that, it's a typical GT interior. No special badging. This one is leather, which is a little bit more desirable. This car, as I mentioned earlier, has a sunroof option, but everything works. And even look at the ashtray, perfect. Ashtray's door's perfect. The ashtay's never been used. The last time this car was registered and driven on the road was 2005. So what makes a Cobra under the hood? Well, at first glance you see the different intakes staring you in the face. Had the cool 5-liter Cobra nameplate right on the top. The special vehicle team decided to do a little bit as best they could within EPA standards to replicate what kids like me were doing on the street with these cars, you know, all through the late 80s, early 90s, which was modifying them with different induction packages, gears, exhaust, etc., etc. So a special vehicle team put together a special intake, which is very reminiscent of the GT40 tubular intake. They use GT40 heads, a different cam, bigger mass airflow sensor, some underdrive pulleys, and a specially tuned exhaust on this car to achieve roughly 25 extra horsepower on the books over the stock Fox body of the time. They did a 355 gear ratio on this car, which gave it a little bit more shebang. But you know, as you see, they utilized most of the the valve covers were different on these cars. They were a black valve cover. This one's still got the factory build codes on it. There's still some factory marking paint on the shock towers. All in all, it was a cool send-off for the Fox body. It's 93, ushered in the final year of production for the Fox body. It's one of the longest running platforms in Ford history, from 79 to 1993. Cars were basically unchanged structurally speaking, except for cosmetic features. You know, the big one happened in '87 when these cars adopted this front end, the more cat-eyed look as opposed to the squared look. Became a little bit more Euro looking, and the rest is history, as they say. So here's another important thing that makes a Cobra. It's this special certificate from the SVT team, denoting that this car is in fact a limited edition 1993 Mustang Cobra, manufactured on April 19th, 1993, number 2078 of a build of 4,993. If you're looking at a car that someone's telling you is a Cobra and it does not have one of these, then it is not in fact a Cobra. So always keep that in mind when you're looking at these cars. Make sure that this certificate is legitimate and it's there for you to view and take with the car. So regarding the special wheels on the Cobra, they were 5-lug front and rear, direct from SVT, and the difference between a 93 SVT Cobra and a 1993 typical GT is that the Cobra could actually stop. Why? Because the SVT team put a set of rear disc brakes on the Cobra, and you can see them in there. Pretty decent sized calipers for the day, and the Cobras did in fact stop pretty good. Definitely way better than a stock Mustang. Those of you who were ripping around back in the day know that even with all your mods, unless you had invested into a aftermarket rear disc brake kit, which were very expensive back then, you weren't stopping too good in a Fox body. So the Cobra was definitely unique in that it offered that option as part of the overall package. So pretty cool.